everyone, welcome back to JP's Budget Collecting. Long time no see. um, uh, I was just on a little over an hour ago doing an unboxing of these books here behind me. So go check that video out later. But you are here for Cash or Trash. And yeah, so we're going to get into this. For anybody that doesn't know what Cash or Trash is, on Saturdays, I always put out a video where we look back at the hot comics from 6 months ago and we see how they're doing in the market now. Cash or Trash is a video where we look at the hot comics that came out that were hot this last week, and we make predictions sure to go wrong for that 6-month video. So let's see who's hanging out with us tonight. My man GT Key jumped right over. It was over here early tailgating. Gordon want to know what I think of that Ultimate Fallout 4 1 in 25. I don't think it's on the list this week. Deep House in the house. What is going on? Says he needs some dumpster fires because it's cold in Chicago. It's cold here. I almost left my sweatshirt on after I came in from taking the dog out. We'll see how much noise the dog makes. He is alert at the moment. He slept through our other stream, but after I took him out and he's laid back down, but yeah, poor guy. Yeah. He's ready to go to bed is what the problem is. But he wants me to go to bed. Mr. Rayman, what is going on? Happy pre-Halloween to you as well. John, my friend, you missed the unboxing. I know I'm a disappointment. I didn't go 3 hours unboxing 8 books, but I'm a rookie, I guess. So there you go. Just finished the live show. Thank you, sir, for watching that. I am doing back-to-back. I thought about pushing this to tomorrow, and but ultimately I have some other stuff I need to do tomorrow night, so I was like, I'm just going to do them both. So he is very disappointed in me. I bring out that feeling a lot. So, all right, so what are we doing here? We are doing Cash or Trash. We're making predictions for 6 months from now. So how do we make those predictions? Well, we throw them into categories, and our categories, as always, are Straight Cash, homie. This is a book that we expect to continue to rise in value. That are, these are books that we don't get very many of these predictions, or in reality, a lot of times we'll talk about a book that maybe might go down or I'll be back over 6 months because of whatever the news is. But long term will be straight cash. But we do occasionally get a straight cash, but they are pretty rare. We get our worth it. These are books that are priced about right. If you buy in at this value, you're probably doing okay. You might not make a lot over 6 months or even longer, but you're probably not going to lose anything. We got our I'll be back flip side of that coin. These are books that aren't really that overpriced, but if you're patient, you're probably going to be able to find better deals. This becomes sort of a catch-all because a lot of books fall in this category. They get hot for whatever reason, and they bump up slightly in price, and then they return slightly back down to what they've been. So it does end up almost becoming a catch-all, but it's just the reality of where the market is. We got our traps. These are books that we're going to drop 30, 40, 50% over the next 6 months because they're just not going to be able to hold the value that they got going right now because of whatever news or information is out there that's got them spiking in the market. It just is overinflated their true value. And then we also have our dumpster fires, which somebody says I should change to straight trash, homie. Somebody said I should call these going forward. I remember who told me that last week, but I thought that was a pretty good comment. But yeah, dumpster fires, these are books that are going to drop 60, 70, 80% over the next 6 months. We usually get 1 to 2 of these because, yeah, these are books that just don't have any kind of anywhere close to the kind of value that people are chasing them at. There's not any kind of long-term value going on here. Occasionally we'll run into a book that Tom will put on the list. Usually Tom puts on the list. It's not really going for a lot. It hasn't really jumped in value, but there's been a lot of sales, and it's like, yeah, you can come back to this whenever. It's whatever. If you want it, get it. If not, you're fine. All right, let's see who else has joined us. Jay Hood, my friend, is in the house. What is going on, Jay Hood? Welcome, sir. Which is more rare, the ghost or a book that's truly a straight cast on these lists? I think we have more straight cast than we have ghosts, but yeah. Let's see who else is in here. Yeah, everybody saying hello to Jay Hood. He's starting on some Corvettes. He's drawing some Corvettes tonight. Very nice, very nice. I mean, you could start on like a real one for me. Like I need a real Corvette. Don't think that's happening. All right, we only got 15 books to talk about between. There was 5 overlap between the lists this week, so let's dig in and see if we can learn something. First up, we got Ranger Stranger. It was on the list about a month ago, almost now. Because it was optioned, the Scout comic book was optioned by Kevin Hart's production company. Still going basically $10 to $12. What was the price? I wrote it down here. 3 weeks ago it was on the list, basically the same price, but there was an uptick in sales again. That's why it went back on the list. Predictions the same. These Scout books so far have not been worth the buy-in in terms of whenever they get hot. They generally just don't. Generally, they haven't been made into anything, and so as a result, they don't really hold up. This is an I'll be back only because it's only a $10 to $12 book. My guess is it'll be an under $10 book 6 months from now because there won't be any news on this actually becoming any sort of real project. Hey, Trell, what's going on? Welcome, sir. Yogi Bear and Boo Boo come bad. maybe. Gordon's put in his special request. It's down. It was way overinflated, and it's way down because of it. Yeah. All right, next we got Jazz Legend, another Rooster Teeth option. This one for an adult animated series. This one's only doing 4 to 10, so this kind of just by default kind of falls into that. I mean, if you're paying cover price, and really, if you're buying it on eBay, you're paying $10 for almost anything you buy, even if the book itself, because of shipping and everything else. So, yeah, $4 to $10 book. Okay, if you want to try to take a shot at this, great. But this is really just, I mean, you can put it as an I'll be back. You can put it as whatever. It's just a whatever. It's odds are you're fine. If you buy in right now, you're fine. But I don't know that you're going to get anything out of it. Another Scout book option, not got the best track record generally. But if they cover price, down a lot. Yes, it's down a lot. One other Scout comic. And there you go. All right. With that, those are our 2 option books this week. They're both Scout books. So you can see what I think of Scout books getting optioned generally. All right, next we're moving into covers. We got both our first book that was on, Jazz Legend was on both lists too. Our second both list book, this is Universal Monsters Dracula #1, the retailer thank you variant. So basically every retailer didn't know they were getting these, got one, or was supposed to get one. Sounded like Russ said he didn't get his on the Tom video, that maybe not all of them got it. But anyway, this, generally speaking, if it's a true one per store, that comes out to a reminder that that's usually about the same number of copies as a 1 in 25, most 1 in 25s that aren't like really big books. Like you'll get a really big book that is way super high ordered, and then the 1 in 25s will go higher than that, will be more abundant than a retailer variant. But generally, it's about the equivalent to a 1 in 25. This one's going 30 to 55, which is about the equivalent of a typical hot 1 in 25. My guess is this is going to end up on the low end of this, more of the 30 to 20, the ratio, or the 25 to 35 kind of range, as opposed to the 30 to 55. It's a nice Dracula cover. I think actually some of the other variants that Tom showed are actually a little bit better. Hey, He Who Remains, welcome back, sir. Spider-Boy #1 predictions, Spider-Man 7 predictions. Dude, that's not what we're doing here. We're talking about these lists. So I'm not picking random books. I didn't do enough research to do that, to pick random books. So yeah, this just falls into that standard kind of follow the 1 in 25 rules. It's an I'll be back. All right, next. We got Marvel Zombies, Black, White, and Blood, the Del Auto 1 in 100, creepy Wolverine zombie going on here, right for the right time of year. This 1 in 100 is going for $2 to $250, which is huge value for a 1 in 100. That is huge. It is. I mean, it's not my cup of tea, but I get why the people love Wolverine. It is kind of a unique Wolverine cover. Yeah, you're not wrong. He remains. You're not wrong. Yeah, I think Tinian is losing some of his steam. Maybe a little bit. Yeah. So maybe you guys disagree with me, but I actually think this is still a trap. Like maybe it's just because I don't like it that much. It doesn't do that much for me. I feel like if I'm going to spend $250 for a Wolverine cover, there's way better choices than this one that you can get in that range. Healthcare, yeah, hard pass. I mean, yeah, I think this is a trap. I think this ends up being still for 1 in 100, still being like 100, 150, maybe 175 for these copies. I don't think it holds the 2 to 250 that it's at. And if it's a $150 book, then it's definitely a trap in 6 months. So, yeah, that's just where I'm at on this. Like 250 just seems way too far. No, people can George Wolverine. Yeah, definitely not. Oh, zombie Wolverine? No, thank you. No, thank you. But yeah, we'll see. I could be underestimating this particular one, but I just feel like I'm a Wolverine fan. If I was if I had $200 to spend on a Wolverine cover, there's way better choices. But that's just me. All right, next we got a little Art Adams back on the list. We got Amazing Spider-Man number 36, the Art Adams 1 in 25. Blue Collar Dan with Hard No. I assume that's still on the Wolverine book. Art Adams doing sexy ladies, big boobs, kind of, his round kind of faces style that some people like. Sometimes I like it, sometimes I'm like, eh. But yeah, this is right in his more typical wheelhouse for the kinds of covers he does that people like. This 125 is going for 25 to 60. So pretty good range on this, all the way up to just above double ratio. But on a 125, that usually means only because if it was just setting it at 60, I would say that's usually a trap. Because it's basically the whole range from ratio to double ratio, I'm going to say it's an I'll be back. I think you're going to be able to get it in that $25 to $35 range on the low end of what it's currently going for. So just above ratio, as I think where this one settles out. I don't think we could see this could be one has the potential to take that second week leap and jump up to like $100 book next week. I don't think that's going to happen, but sometimes these Art Adams hit, but most of the time they don't. There are a few that have hit and hit big, but yeah. Yeah. I get that. Art Adams is not for everybody. I'm not a huge Art Adams fan. Pass. That can't burn out is a thing. Future $20 book on the edge of probably. AH. This is not Adam Hughes. This is Art Adams. AA. So, or am I missing something? I don't know. I'm not sure where you're going with that. You've said AH there twice. He remains. I'm not sure if there's a different book you're referring to. I'm not 100% not following for sure. ASM 37, 1 in 25. I will have to do that after this stream. No, you're good. You're good. That's what I thought you were meaning, but I just want to make sure that I wasn't missing something. So, all right, next. We got Void Rivals, number 5, the J. Lee 1 in 50, another supposed spoiler variant of some sort. I don't know what's going on here. I don't fully understand the spoiler, but sure. But then I've never really read Transformers comics, so that could be just a story point that others would understand. 1 in 50, 80 to 115, so right around double ratio. This is a trap. I get there's a lot of buzz about this whole Energon universe right now. People are buying in. People are chasing these books. But I don't think they're all going to hold. And I don't know that there's any really truly key moments that are happening here other than this new universe. My guess is a 1 of 50 that's sitting right around double ratio, which this one is, where the midpoint is basically right at double ratio. Usually it's going to end up 50 to 80, kind of on that lower end of this, which is going to make this a trap. So yeah, it's going to be above ratio probably in 6 months, but it's not going to be that much above ratio. Saying dumpster fire. I mean, it's possible at this price range. It is possible for it to slide into the dumpster fire range. My guess is there's enough Energon universe buzz that it only makes it to a trap. maybe that's what's going on. Eco got traded. There you go. Hey, Kenneth Bird, what's going on? I guess I'm not remembering who this character is then. Yeah. Cover not that great. That's kind of where I'm at. All right. We're going to keep moving. We got, speaking of, we're going into comic buzz. Speaking of the Energon universe, we're getting ready to get the G.I. Joe books are getting ready to launch, including Duke and G.I. Joe, and there's another one. I don't remember who the other character is that's getting her solo other than Duke. G.I. Joe, Real American Hero, #1, hitting the list. We got high grade raw copies going for like $250 to $280, like on the very high end here. 9.8, 800 to 1,000. This is an I'll be back. This is a book. I get that this is a book that hits the list every so often, and it jumps up for whatever reason, and then if you look at it, it mostly returns back to where it's been. It mostly kind of drops back into the values that we typically expect for this. Now, the long-term trend is slightly up on this book, but it's slightly up through a lot of peaks and valleys. It's trending up, but it's through a lot of peaks and valleys, and I think you want to avoid the peaks. Hey, Stevie B, Cobra Commander's getting the other solo. That's right. Okay. Her Primpy, love that on G.I. Joe for sure. Not to be confused with Tales of G.I. Joe. I don't remember the Tales of G.I. Joe. Yeah, Mr. Rayman's got it. Hits the list, tails off. Hits the list, tails off. There's lots of them. Yeah. Still, I mean, it's a good book. It's just, yeah, you don't buy when it's in the news. Don't buy when it's in the news. And all right, next. We got Secret Wars #8, hitting the list. The Origin of the Black Suit, hitting the list because supposedly Marvel is going to reprint Secret Wars for the 40th anniversary. So we're going to be getting reprints of all these books. So it brought attention back to this 40th anniversary of the Black Suit coming up here right after the first of the year. Raw copies on this one, 200 plus for high grades, 9.8. Was this one I needed to? Yeah, high grades were hitting 200 plus, 9.8 hitting 600, which that's really high for a high grade raw to be on only a $600 book. But generally speaking, though, this one is probably, like, I went back and forth on whether or not I think this is going to be worth it. 6 months from now, we're not going to be that far from it. Generally, this book, overall, the trend on this book is a little steeper up than like on some of the others I talk about. I'm going to lean toward I'll be back, but this one I did debate strongly about going a worth it here, just because the slow trend up on this book is strong enough that maybe in 6 months it doesn't really matter. Like, this little peak is not enough to, this fits within the general trend. Gordon saying worth it. Yeah, rinse, repeat. Reprint fatigue. Yeah. Yeah. But preview has the black costume. Right. All right, next. Same thing going on here. ASM 252, first appearance of the black suit. Raw copies setting about 250. 9.8 Canadian price variant went for 4,200. which is that's big money. So whereas I put the Black Suit on the Secret Wars 8 on the I'll Be Back side, I just put this generally on the Worth It side. This book hasn't really like dropped off that much. It's been pretty steady. I mean, both of these books are you're safe buying into both of these books generally. But you generally want to try to avoid, but they still have peaks and valleys in their sales and in their pricing. And you generally just want to try to avoid the peaks if you can. So generally, it's never a bad idea on a book like this because it's probably not going to just take off. To just be patient and look for the right deal. But yeah. Yeah, another Forever Key. Hard to find now. I don't know if it's that hard to find. I mean, it's getting harder to find nice raw copies because most of the nice raw copies have been slabbed at this point. That is absolutely true. So I would probably put this one. I'm going to lean toward the Worth It side as opposed to the one I said I'll be back. I'm probably being inconsistent in my logic, but yeah, that's where I'm at. Part of the ASM runs as a little too. Both are great. Yeah. For sure. I mean, they're really good books. Right. Long term, not 6 months. Long term, they're both worth it to straight cash. For sure. All right. Next, we got ASM 14 from 2022, the first appearance of Hollow's Eve. I guess her solo series didn't last very long, but supposedly she's getting a one shot that's coming out right here around Halloween. Caused a spike in sales on this sucker. But it's still like an $8 average book. 9.8 is going for 55. You could put this almost into the whatever category. I'm going to put it in the I'll Be Back category. I think Hallow's Eve's a character that has some potential, but we'll see. I feel like they're going to have to do something different with the whole Ben Reilly being Chasm thing to help her have the potential that she needs to do, but maybe not. Maybe they can split her off on her own and make her into something, but for the file facsimile. I buy a lot of the facsimiles too, but I usually try to keep it to books that I just know I'm never going to own and that I don't already have a facsimile of, but that's me. I think there's potential, but for now, I would be in the I'll Be Back category. I would be looking to find this for cover price somewhere because I think you can. All right, next, we got Marvel Premiere number 50, the first appearance of Alice Cooper in comics. This is hitting the list because Dynamite announced that they're going to do a new. So, yeah, it's a little seasonal theme here, but Dynamite announced they're doing a new Alice Cooper comic book written by Rodney Barnes of Philadelphia fame. Average on this, they're saying $100. I didn't get a chance to go back, and I was going to go back this evening and see if that average from Tom was really right or if it's too high. My guess is it's too high because 9.6 is 124. Let's see real quick. Let's just do because I was going to go and see if this was one of those ones where Tom had a way too high average. Marvel, what is this? Marvel Premiere? Yeah. Let's see. Where are the sales on this sucker? Where are the sales? Where are the actual raw sales at? Let's look. All right. 30, 25, 16, 30, 56, 30, 28, 19. Yeah, so it's like a $20 to $60 raw book, with 60 being very much the high end. So yeah, that average means nothing to Tom. So we're gonna judge it based on that. So raw are, let me add that information real quick. 20 to 60 of the Tom average means nothing. So I'll be back. Like, we got news on this that they're doing this. maybe it gets a little bit of a bump again when the book actually starts coming out. Maybe the book is already coming out. I'm not sure what the timing is here, but yeah, this is an I'll be back. I would come back later on this book. It's kind of cool. You're getting an actual person in the books. Those are always kind of interesting, but they have also limited real value. The magic one. Okay, gotcha. But Swagglebots, Darkwing artwork for 3,000 of saving for next one. I think you talked about that last week or something. Yeah. I mean, people buy stuff. They may be saving for something, but they see something that they really want. It happens. It happens. It happens. Oh, it did come out a week ago. Okay. There you go. So that's why it's in the list, which means, yeah, for sure it's an I'll be back. People will have forgotten about this in 6 months. It's probably maybe even sliding into trap territory at that point. Actually, yeah, I'm going to go on. I'm just going to say this is going to be a trap. Because if it's already out right now, yeah, that's going to be a trap. All right, next we got NYX number 4, the second appearance of Laura Kinney. This is all based on the rumors that Daphne Keene is going to return to Deadpool 3. But before any of that can happen, they have to actually negotiate with the actors and try to come to an agreement, which they're not apparently doing. So who knows when that strike's going to end. But yeah, this is why this is hitting the list, because that NYX3 is a really big book. And so people are now chasing her second appearance. Raw copy, $65, 9.8, 335 to 550, which is still down a little bit from the peak from the boom, which is not really a real peak. I think at this point we can all agree most of those books peaked at prices that they're not going to get back to for a significant period of time. But yeah, I'm going to say, what did I put for this one? I lost my place on the page. I think this is probably still an I'll be back. You got a little buzz at the moment. You could argue maybe, I don't know that this longer term, this book has been in this range for a while, so you could argue worth it. I think I would just wait until there's no information coming about her being in character. Although I'll be honest, right now is almost always like from here to the end of the year is always a good time to buy stuff because usually things are low. So anything that's not in the news between now and January 1st, if you have the funds, it's a good time to buy because books are usually people are selling books to do stuff for Christmas, or people aren't buying books because they're saving money for Christmas. This is a good time to buy, good time of year to buy. This is He Who Remains says what I was trying to say about this book better than I did. Yeah, there you go. I would like to get I have the 3. I would like to get this eventually, but it's not a super high priority at the moment. It is a good cover. Gordon, you keep asking for books that aren't on the list. I'm not doing them. I'm doing the books on the list. All right. Next, we got Fantastic Four, number 244. First appearance of Nova, Frankie Reyes version, the Herald of Galactus. So there's rumors that the Herald of Galactus in the Fantastic Four movie is going to be a woman. People are all up in arms and, they're going to gender swap Silver Surfer. Or they could just use one of his female heralds, particularly his female herald, and go this route. Either way, I'm not too worried about it. We'll see what Marvel comes up with when and if we ever actually get a Fantastic Four movie. Mine is a 9.8, so no. That is not going to happen. I may eventually trade my 9.8 at some point and get and downgrade to like a 9.6 and get something else with it, but it's probably not going to be that trade. So yeah, so this is right now 25 to 55, 9.8406, which is still way down from when the first time this kind of rumor came around, year and a half ago, 2 years ago now. But I would still put this as an I'll be back. People are obviously jumping on this. This is on both lists. Um, I I would. We don't know that we're even going to get this character. Anything MCU right now, if there's news, come back later. It's just the way the MCU books work. Don't the rumors and news actually are causing MCU books to jump higher than the actual movies are at this point, or TV shows. Like the books are down when the shows actually come out at this point because people have gotten mad and frustrated, and the spec market is just turned in a way that just doesn't make a lot of sense. Uh, yeah, every year it's a every year I look and try to get myself a birthday Christmas present around this time of year and get a big book for cheaper than I've done it like 4 years in a row. I've gotten a big book in December that is well down from what it's been, and by March I got a steal every year. It is a really good cover. I will say that it is a good cover. A lot of Terminator in this episode. There is. I feel like I do I'll be back too much, but it's really the most common category that when you come back and look, most of the time it's where they're sitting. So next, Avengers Annual number 21, first appearance of Victor Timely. Now this is the perfect example of what I was just talking about. When he appeared at the end of the Ant-Man movie, this book went stupid. Stupid. This book is a dumpster right now with the show coming out and him appearing in the show. This book is still a dumpster fire compared to where it was when the Ant-Man movie came out. It was once a $400 plus 9.8 back in the spring. It's now $155 for 9.8, and it's hot at the moment. And raw copies are $20 where they were going like $50, $60. And guess what? This book is still a trap even at these prices because Victor Timely is not the villain. The villain is Kang. Nobody's going to care. The show's coming out right now. This book was a dollar bin book forever and ever. It may never go all the way back to the dollar bins, but it's not going to be worth this. It's still a trap. So you said I've been doing too many Terminators. Here's a little Akbar for you. It's a trap still. And it's a dumpster fire compared to what it was. It's just not a book that's worth chasing. I did get rid of mine prior to the show. And I've actually been thinking about going and getting one. Putting it back on my list and going and getting a personal copy now. Yeah. Well, I actually enjoy it. I thought the show was a good time, but I'm easier to play. I don't like. I'm just looking to be entertained. I'm not looking for anything more than that from the Marvel. And I realize some people weren't, but it entertained me. So there you go. I haven't started watching season 2 yet. I know he appears, but I haven't watched season 2 yet. I mean, pretty much. Mojo. Look at Mojo with deep thoughts and accurate ones. So there you go. There you go. Yeah, it did a little bit. Not that I watched a ton of that, but it does. Now that you say that. All right, last book. Okay. Avengers 8. First appearance of Kang the Conqueror. Another book that has crashed from the heights of the initial Kang speculation. 5.0 down to $500. Another book I forgot to actually look at what raw copies are going for right now. His average of 4.1K, $4,100 is not real because he's including high grades and low grades and everything. 8. So this book has plummeted. And I have a bit of a hot take on this. So the question is, where is the floor on this book? This book is, we're going to get more of Kang, obviously. Kang's supposed to be a big part of the rest of the going forward MCU. Looking like 300 to 700 on raw copies. That's a trash raw copy. I mean, that's a 200 to 700. Yeah, basically like $200 to $700 is where raws are sitting right now. So let's change that. Get rid of Tom's average. So we have a value that actually means something when I come back and look at prices in 6 months. Raw 2 to 700. Tom average 100 because it's crazy. So the question is, do we think we're finally at the bottom on this book? Do we expect this book to start coming back up as we get more Kang? And normally I would say yes, because I do think long term, this is a straight cash book. And I think people will start to appreciate it. But I'm not sure we're at the bottom yet. And this is why. As long as there's a cloud hanging over the sky, and there's a cloud hanging just over the MCU in general, because people have decided they don't like anything Marvel does at the moment. Because it can't live up to Endgame and Infinity War. Like, because there's a bunch of people that are just like going to bitch about every Marvel project because it's not Endgame. And I just don't understand that, but that's just where we're at. And as long as those clouds are hanging over both the MCU, there's a cloud hanging over the MCU, plus there's a cloud hanging over this actor. I don't think we're at the floor of this book. I think this book has to get away, almost has to get away from the MCU and away from this actor, and then it might actually return to where it belongs, which is long-term a straight cash book. But right now, I think it's still an I'll be back. I think you still just look for the best deals you can find and be patient. You guys can completely disagree with me. I'm very curious. Yeah. I mean, and I can't argue with that. Right now, man, yeah, I think you're still like have time to be patient on this book. We'll see if they recast or not. And I do think a recast actually at this point would help this book. Yeah, I think I would still be patient. We'll see. At some point, we're going to get to the bottom and it's start going to go back up just because it's going to be undervalued. But at the moment, I think I would still be patient for sure. Everybody seems to agree with me. I'm surprised. I figured I would be in the minority thinking that that we weren't quite at the floor yet, even as low as this book has gone. That's an interesting take, but so they lost. You ended it with them losing. Got it. Well, what happens with most villains, Matthew, is we get a silly peak that's not real in the lead up. After the movie, the book crashes, sometimes crashes below the value before of down to at least 2, if not below the value that the book was going for before the villain appeared. And then, and this is not 100%, but generally, and then people realize, wait, as we move away from the movie, eventually we get to the point where people are like, no, that's a really good book. That's a really good character. And the book goes back to where it belongs, which is usually up from where it was before all of that started, but still down from the peak that it got to. So, yeah. I think so I don't know all the details there. But what I think, so I don't think I think you're right in the fact that some of this has been, but I think the cloud is, I don't know that the general populace realizes that the cloud is over yet, Mojo. And maybe not, because I don't know all the details. Maybe there's more out there that I've just missed, but my guess is if I've missed it, a lot of people have missed it. So, yeah. Seems like about every book spikes with movie height ends up crashing after the movie's done. That is the time. You are correct, CBB. As a person that bought the first appearance of Harley Quinn after the Birds of Prey movie for the cheapest I've ever seen a 9.4, Since I've been back in collecting in like 2018, 2017, and then within that was like 2 months after the movie. Within 6 months after that, it was more than it was. It was, yeah, I hadn't doubled, but it had bounced up a bunch. Dead cat bounce, possible. Oh, she did. Those books have crashed. Like, it's right there. It's right behind me, which is fine for me. I don't mind that they crashed. Although I bought this when it hadn't crashed as much as it still has, but I'll take them. People don't like Carol Danvers, Captain Marvel books. That's okay. I like it. So, all right. With that, we're going to wrap this up. Yeah, who knows where that whole thing's going. And I think that's just the thing is whenever you get one of those he said, she said, and maybe if it fully appears that she was in the wrong and he wasn't, but there was enough stuff that came out about him just being an a-hole in general that like fed into that. He's going to have a cloud over him for a while until he can move on, demonstrate that it really wasn't him and that he can move on. So, later, Mr. Randman. Doom, the better villain for sure. Realize that would be a bad ex-wife. And, all right. We're going to get out of here. I want to thank you guys for hanging out with me twice tonight. You got to see an unboxing. If you missed the unboxing, go back and watch that. It's only like 30 minutes. And, yeah, hanging out with us. And we will catch you guys later. Oop, wrong button. There it is. There's the outro. There it is. Later.